Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, the story of his death and burial between Austria and Istanbul. In this intriguing story, we recount the details of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificat's death in 1566 during his military campaign in Hungary and how his body was divided to be buried between Istanbul and Austria. From the unexpected moments of his passing to the long journey his body took between two great cities, we unveil the legends and truths that tell the tale of this great sultan's connection to his lands and the glory of his empire. Tune in for the full story of this unique historical event. In the year 1566, the Ottoman Empire was at its peak under the rule of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. The Sultan, known as the lawgiver due to his legal and administrative reforms, had led great campaigns against the enemies of the empire across Europe and the Middle East. That year, the Sultan was in Hungary, where he launched a military campaign against the Hungarian Empire. While the Ottoman army was on the verge of victory, the Sultan suddenly fell ill. At first, his death was not immediately announced, as the Ottoman commanders feared the news might affect the army's morale in the midst of battle. The news was kept secret until the campaign was completed in an effort to maintain leadership stability and guide the army toward victory. Sultan Suleiman played a major role in expanding the borders of the Ottoman Empire and turning it into a great power, and thus his death marked the end of a golden era in Ottoman history. After the Sultan's death, preparations began to transport his body to Istanbul for burial in the mosque he had commissioned himself, Süleymaniye Mosque, which became one of the greatest landmarks of the Ottoman Empire. However, due to the long distance between the place of his death in Hungary and Istanbul, the transportation of the body was complicated, especially given the difficult conditions and overland travel at the time. A decision was made to divide his body into parts to enable faster and more efficient transport. The main part of his body was taken to Istanbul, where it was placed in his tomb at the Süleymaniye Mosque. But another part of his body was transported to Austria, where he had fought a major battle against Austrian forces, so that this part would remain as a memorial to him in the lands where he had waged a great war, making his remains a part of the history of different regions of the world. The double tomb in Austria was a simple yet majestic mausoleum built in honor of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. This tomb was located near the place where he died, as part of the rituals to honor the Sultan after his death. It carried great symbolic significance, as it represented the Ottomans' appreciation for the Sultan who had fought a historic battle in that region. In Istanbul, the larger part of his body was buried in the Süleymaniye Mosque, which became an important pilgrimage site and a destination for visitors from all over the world. The tomb in Istanbul was grand, reflecting the uniqueness Sultan Suleiman had during his lifetime, as well as the great achievements he had made for the Ottoman Empire. Thus, although death took him far from his homeland, Sultan Suleiman remained alive in the memory of the Ottomans, with parts of his body lying both in the heart of Istanbul and in the land of Austria, a symbol of Ottoman history and its great rulers.